there below, Dutch we call it bezinksel. There's a lot of goop down there. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Sailing Windrows. I'm Jan, together with my wife Sasha and Steph, my son. We would like to set sail on around the Atlantic in approximately 1,000 days from now. But in order to get started properly, you need to prevent getting into trouble. And this is all about preventing getting into trouble. Let me explain. So this is the magazine of the KNRM, the Dutch Coast Guard. And the Dutch Coast Guard made a change recently. They basically said, if you don't have an urgent need to be rescued, you have to call a commercial company to save you. What I learned from the KNRM is that 60% of their saves or their rescues are because your diesel engine is not running. And 40% of that is because you have contaminated diesel. Bacteria in your diesel that pollute create your filters to be clogged and basically your engine not to run. This particularly happens in rough weather because then the diesel is shaken up and the contamination gets into your system. So in order to prevent this, especially if these numbers are really large, I decided after watching Mads in Sail Life to create a fuel polisher. And today the parts for the fuel polisher came in. It came from Schneider Filter Technique. Actually the guys helped me out big time. I called them and I said, look, I want to make a fuel polisher. And first it was like, what do you want to make? And then at a certain point in time there was one guy, Ronald, who actually said, hey, I kind of made something like that. Maybe it could be of help. So this is in this box. It's a demo model that they made for a Dutch company, but in the end they didn't use it. So let's see how this looks. Stuff. What's this? They put in cookies. That's nice. Okay. Ambachtelijke speculaas. You would really like this. So thank you, Ronald. Big time already. All right, boys and girls, let's see what's in here. So here is the actual thing. Aha! Look at that. Look at that, baby. So we basically have the intake, which has a Debug L500 in there. Then we have the Separ SWK 2010, which is the actual fuel filter. And last but not least, we have a Marco up to 12 volt clear pump. So the idea is that we connect this part to the diesel tank. We suck up the diesel via the pump, via the filter, which separates the water and the contamination here, and then pumps it back and it goes from here to the day tank. And in the day tank we basically store the diesel, but we can also run it back to the main tank. And then let's say we are out there, we want to be sure that we have clean fuel because we see there's rough weather upcoming. We drain it first, we fill the day tank, and then we know we have clean diesel. For now I'm really happy because I think this is exactly what I was looking for. There's a little bit of goop in the bottom of this thing. Do you know that feeling when you think you just got lucky? Well, seeing this footage in hindsight, I really feel lucky. But for now, let's continue with the rest of the stuff that I ordered. Okay, this is the second box. Obviously, we cannot connect it without any hoses and slangpilaren, we call it. I have to look that one up again. The ones that should go into the tank, I guess. A Y one, lamps. We have the cranes. And we have a big fusion tube. So with the goobies in the bowl, I thought, you know, let's just open it up. And this is what I found. I just opened this one. But to be quite honest, this obviously does not look really good. Quite a bit of pollution in here as from rust from the system. So I need to check what I need to do here, but the housing itself structurally doesn't seem to have a problem, but I am wondering a little bit if this actually will give a problem. So this actually is quite corroded. A bit the same here. This one I hadn't cleaned yet. This I kind of cleaned with the brush. So it will be filtered, that's the good thing because it's in here, but yeah, it's obviously not really what I had hoped for, but let's see how this goes. On close inspection, it didn't show any good. I called Snyder Filter Technique. I got Ronald on the phone again and he actually said, oh, we used it with water and apparently that caused this problem to occur. So I assume the water wasn't let out fully after usage. And it had time with the different metals, as you can see, to corrode quite badly. Fortunately, and I would almost say obviously, they said not good, just send it back and we'll swap the parts that are corroded. So I sent back the box and that started with getting on the bike. You really get to know a company when something is wrong. And they are actually doing what they promised, helping me out. It's back. That's brilliant. Clean new debug. Clean new Separ. This time with no goop in it. And the engine. Thank you guys, amazing. So today is one of these days I've been dreading for a long time because it's all about getting all the diesel out of the tanks, cleaning it up in order to be ready for the installation of the fuel polisher. So the plan for today is simple, dirty, but effective. I'm standing in the entrance, and basically the day tank of this boat is right over there. So that is the day tank that you're looking at, and below the day tank are a couple of valves, and one of the valves is that one is actually to get all the fuel out and especially the water. As you see, it has a deeper part, so water sinks at the deepest part. So if there's any water in this tank, it will come out first. Gonna drain that until I see the diesel and then let everything out. So the second part of the job is cleaning the main diesel tank. The main diesel tank is, as you can see over there, right below this part of the board that you're seeing. So I'm going to get out this board, take it out. Then there is a manhole there. Well, it's not a manhole, but there's a hole. I can open it up just like with the water tanks, then I can go into it. So the first job is to get all the diesel out, put it in these empty jars. Second part is to wipe it all down. I bought some Nali's extra strong wipes that you could actually also use when wet. Wipe it all down, make it clean, and then put, we call it spiritus in there. So 2 bottles. And together with a, whatever, how you call that, plantenspuit, we're going to spray the inside and clean it. So with a brush, with the wipes, with the spiritus, and then I think everything should be clean. And obviously I have some gloves here and I have a place where I can dump the papers. So let's see. So the first job is to drain the day water, the day tank. See what comes out. So curious to see if there's any water. That's water. That's water. That's water. Now there's fuel. I think it's fuel now. There's also contamination in there. I'm not sure if these jars are actually good enough for diesel, so I decided to put it in a bucket. Safety first. Next step, get the floorboard out. Now it's a matter of opening the bolts on that end so we can get that lid off, and then I can get into the main tank. One down, 23 to go. Somewhere down there. Like, where is it stuck? Come out! There we go. Good. Really clean. The rubber is actually eating a bit. So after some checking on the interwebs and calling my favorite company, rubbermagazijn.nl, it's really funny company, we just sell rubber. I found what I needed, which is nitrile rubber, and that actually doesn't get eaten by diesel fumes. So ordered a roll of that and continued the job. So just to show you, tank is nice and clean. There's some spots, some black spots. See it there in the corner, that's the goop they want to get out. And there below, that we call it bezinksel, there's a lot of goop down there that we actually want to get out as well. So you probably know this feeling that you have a local supermarket and you find this gem of a product. For instance, an oil suction, diesel suction pump for only $11.99, which is like super cheap, and you're like, yeah, I need that, man. I'd already used it twice actually to get the engine oil out, which is like great value for money. And I wanted to use it for the diesel as well, and that also went brilliantly. All right, there it is. And that did not go according to plan. So there's some diesel out, but apparently little diesel thingy kind of thought it was enough. But we're not there yet, little diesel thingy. Little diesel suction pump thingy. Yeah, that actually sounded like it broke, which would be quite annoying. Because we just got started. So this is the moment where the 5-minute job becomes a 2-hour job. Yeah, that's not good. Or at least it doesn't sound good. It sounds like there's something in it. Which might as well be the case, because this definitely does not look like clean diesel. But now then the question is, what happened there? So instead of running to the shop and buying a proper pump, I actually concluded, how hard can it be to fix it? So let's just have a look at it. So looking at the heart of the pump, getting off the lid. Curious to see what we find here. Ooh. That was not what I was expecting. It feels really, 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 really not smooth. Ah, that's a bummer. I thought maybe there's something in there and I can just see it, but I don't think I can actually see anything in there. So after some fiddling about, it actually felt it might work again. I do think something was in there, because now it feels good. So I think I kind of fixed it. Fingers crossed. All right, okay, cool. That's good. That's good. There is like a shitload amount of goop down there, but So there you actually see the goop that I mean. So all the black stuff is not what you want. So it's time for part 2, actually almost. So first I'm gonna get this out with the tissues, the remainder of it. And then from there, gonna put in the brandspiritus to clean it. So there is a certain amount of cleaning you can do with tissues, but the methylized spirits, that's at least how Google Translate translates this, we call it brandspiritus, actually cleans the stuff pretty well. So that is what I put in. Now we have 2 bottles of brandspiritus in there. I cleaned everything. It looks really clean again. That really worked like a charm. So I'm gonna leave it in here, and as you can see, the suction pump there is also below the spiritus level, so I should be able to suck it up. But I have to try that. So I'm gonna do that now to put it in the day tank. So that worked. There is now also brandspiritus in the day tank. So if you thought this video was about fuel polisher, yes it is, but it was a whole lot of fiddling about, cleaning and getting junk out and time-consuming stuff before we could even get started. But now the tank was empty, the goop was out in both the day tank and the main tanks, so now it was time to position the new goodies in the boat. So here we have the Separ. We can mount the motor all the way up there. So we could put it here, and then from there it flows up and it goes to the day tank, which is actually good because we have any, and I think that's what I'm gonna do. This is the manual pump, and it goes up here, goes to the tank, and there's the inlet is down there obviously. So this one can go right over there, but it works. Alternatively, I need to put it up here ish, but the crane goes up. We are ready. We have all the stuff. So currently we have a manual pump which is connected to the day tank, to the main tank, and by pumping it you pump it into the day tank. So currently there's just one tube there. So there we're going to make a T connector, one tube from the manual pump, one from the automatic pump. So that's to fill the day tank. Then currently the manual pump is connected to the main tank. That will be disconnected. That will be connected to the debug. Via the debug we go all the way down there to the Separ inlet. Fuel goes in there, water is separated, goes to the filter, and then gets out in the back here to the electric pump. From the electric pump it goes through the T connector, and the same goes for this one. So the hose that was connected there will be connected there, but it will now be connected to the outlet of the Separ. So by sucking it, we pull the diesel through the debug, through the filter, into the manual pump, and from the manual pump we will go to the other T connector. Then to get the fuel back, we have the Y connector. One will be connected to the reflex stove, which is all the way down there, and the other one will be connected with a hose to the main tank. So this will be going on top in the main tank. So with that construction, we have our fuel filter stuff ready to go, and it's just a matter of bolting it all together and connecting the hose, which is all the way back there. Somehow boat projects are always in weird places and in weird ways of getting in. This one is no different to all the other ones I have been through. So making a model of paper. Once that hard to reach place was traced on a piece of paper, I could make a plywood copy of it and use that as a backing plate for the fuel polisher and actually also the fuel pump. I didn't want to put it on the plywood that is there because it's super thin and I want to make sure that it's strong enough. So once the part was ready, I could test fit it. Exciting moment! Let's see if this fits. I should get out first and put the plank in and then try if it fits. I think this looks quite okay. So let's start gluing up this plate. Kind of sticks to it, we don't have to. So once that was ready, it was time to seal all the connections with the Loctite. I started with the fuel pump and the inlet and the outlet, connected the hose connectors to that, and basically moved on to all the other things like the diesel pump, and in the end also the debug. By the way, the debug is a magnetic apparatus that makes sure that all the bugs are killed that go in. So anything you put in the tank is dead, which is good. So once done fitting all the hose tails, slangtules we call it in Dutch, it was about ready to just install all the components and hit the switch and then it would work, right? Easy. Have the pump right up there, and then we have the Separ over there, and then we have the debug over there. Everything's connected. I would say nice and tidy, but obviously everything is relative and not everything was installed yet. So I don't know if you spot the difference, but the inevitable happened. Like with any job, you always have something that doesn't work as planned. And I had like a lucky strike all the way. But in the end, I had to take it out. This little baby. Because the lower valve, or actually the lower slangtule, called in Dutch, ain't coming off. So I need to open it. I need to see what's in there. But this is like a piece, this weighs like a ton, and this is like rock solid stuff. This is like not going to break anytime soon, but I do think that you need to kind of replace the seals every now and then. I'm looking at this rubber gasket. I think it definitely needs a replacement. So I couldn't resist the curiosity and I got the valve off. It's basically a quite simple connection with a piece of rubber. But I think this piece of rubber is, well, this piece of rubber is gone. So good that I opened this up, because now I can replace it with a new piece of rubber that I just bought. Yay! Off camera, I got the slangtule off. That was on there. I'm going to connect the hose here because now it fits. It didn't fit. Then the only thing I need to do is to connect it to the debug. But for that I don't have the right connector. So that I need to change. Okay. It's actually always a bit the same. You think it's very easy. And then it isn't. Which is quite annoying. But we're getting there. So cutting up the hose, And it's interesting because in my head I would say, oh, that's plenty hose. 1.5 meters, I will have 1.5 meters left. Well, I don't. So the simple explanation will be that I need to order a new hose worth 80 euros. Quite expensive indeed. Okay, let's do this. So that was rather fiddly, but it works. See the crane over there? Open, close. This one goes to the main tank, goes into the debug, goes up. But also the manual pump still works, and the crane over there still works. And we need that because if it can't make this airtight, then this little baby will suck false air, so to say. So we need to make that airtight, and with this crane we can actually do that. So that's good. So it fits. So hoping that I don't have to open this again, because as you can see my hands are a bit battered from getting this tube off in the return, but it is a nightmare to get them on, and it is a nightmare. It's an even worse nightmare to get them back off again. So it really takes a bit of persuasion, and I'm lacking the power at this moment to just force it on, and obviously it is not the most ideal position either, because in Dutch we would say ik kan mijn kont hier niet keren. En ik zit in de bakskist. And so I'm sitting in the locker, which is not normally the place to put so much pressure on a hose, as you could imagine. Look, this is easier because you can kind of wiggle it on. Hey, should I wiggle it on? Is that the solution? Just wiggle it on. Yeah, you should wiggle it. Maybe you should also wiggle it to get it off. Oh, jeez. So much force needed to get that on there. But now at least it is on there. A little bit of blood, sweat and tears. Oh yeah, we need to be able to switch the pump on and off. Let's make a little switchboard thingy for that. So this I can use to screw it to wherever it needs to be screwed to. Here I can connect it. So decent cable clamps. The negative with an additional clamp to put the negative of the pump on, and then the plus can go there, and then it should work. And now I have to feed this cable through the hole over there all the way down there. Yes, I pulled it off, or actually I pulled it through. So now we have it here. Both connections, just need to put the switch in, wire it up, and see if it works. So the first test is, will I blow the fuse? Didn't blow the fuse, so I wired it correctly. That's good. And now the second test is, will it work? Okay, there we go. Oh. Not a lot happening here. Okay, that was the wrong button. Let's try this again. Oh, fuck, it works. But then I don't hear any diesel. Oh. Ah, it works! It works! Alright! Yes, baby! It works! Woo! Oh, see that level rising! That's insane! Like how much time that it actually cost to do that when we would have done that manual. Oh my! Let's look at the power consumption. So really thrilled, as you can actually hear in my voice, that this is working as it should, that it's not using a huge amount of power, and that if the electric pump would fail, I could also use the manual pump. There was one thing that I needed to test, and that is if actually the day tank would drain back into the main tank. So if you listen very carefully, you can actually hear the fuel go back because it's open. Yes, we can just pump fuel around for no particular reason but cleaning it. And it works like a charm. That's insane. Yes, you've guessed it right. I think I deserve a cookie. And let's see if for once I can get it out. Yes, and I picked one that is heel. So it's a Tiger from Schneider. So Ronald, thank you so much with all the help, all the support, and I think it was an amazing adventure. Why? Because being towed by the Dutch Coast Guard, actually not the Coast Guard, but the commercial Coast Guard, will cost you 2,500 euros. This was about 12.5, so it's half the price. But it's all about being responsible and making sure that the boat is as safe as possibly can be. And I think knowing that a lot of the accidents or incidents are actually because there is a contaminated fuel, seeing contaminated fuel in my own tank, I think this is a great solution. So yeah, really happy with that, and I toast to that. So cheers. Lekkere koekjes.